going out in this fine day. I have a very little package to bring, grocery shopping, and I'm going to the library to print out some fan art and book covers I prepared, because their printer, they have those modern laser printers, and they are much better than what I have at home, and it's also cheaper. So yeah. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be talking about all the books that I'm anticipating this fall. So let's begin with the first book, and my most prioritized book is Iron Flame. I'm going to be dropping everything when it comes out. I have already pre-ordered, I think, two copies. The first print of Iron Flame and the Waterstones special edition. I have pre-ordered both of them, and I have also pre-ordered the German special edition, like the one that I already have here, just to match it with the first one I bought. So yeah, that's the first book, Iron Flame, the sequel to Fourth Wing. If you didn't know, it's a romance fantasy. It's a fantastic story, and yeah, I cannot wait to read that book. The second book I'm anticipating is also a very exciting release. I mean, a lot of these books are very exciting releases for me because I have been waiting a long time for them. It's A Curse for True Love. So it's the final book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series by Stephanie Garber, and I cannot wait. I will be saying this a lot in this video. I cannot wait. I really am very excited to get my hands on that book too. I also pre-ordered it from pre-ordered the signed edition from Waterstones, and I'm very excited to read it. If you don't know, if you never heard of Once Upon a Broken Heart, it's a fantasy, YA fantasy romance, and it's so good, whimsical, magical, a lot of adventures, lyrical writing. It just takes you out of this world, and it's one of the best series, YA fantasy series, that you can read out there. And the next book I'm going to talk about is Throne of the Fallen by Kerry Maniscalco. I'm also so happy that it's coming out finally. I read the Kingdom of the Wicked series by Kerry Maniscalco, and fallen in love with it. I loved it so much. I read it last year. I binge read it, like I binged it I don't know, maybe 1 week, and I loved it so much. And I was thinking, when I'm reading that book series, that this word has a lot of potential, and I was so hoping that the writer would just bring up the potential of that word, because she can write like a dozen books in that universe, and I will not complain. I would love every single one of them, because we have the seven princes of hell, and that's what Kerry Maniscalco did. Exactly. This is her debut adult book. The second and third books, just to quick mention, the second and third book in the Kingdom of the Wicked series are new adult. The first book was YA, so it was first book YA, and then second and third book new adult. And now this book that is coming up in this universe is an adult book. It's about the House of Envy. So we have Prince of Envy and the love interest. I think she was mentioned briefly in the Kingdom of the Cursed book, I believe. And like I catched it. I was like, okay, that's an interesting story, and now we are building up on that story. So I'm very happy about this book, and I cannot wait to read it. And it's a standalone, so it's just a plus point. But I need more books in this universe. I hope she continues to write more books in this universe. The next book I want to talk about is the Fragile Threads of Power by V.E. Schwab. I read the Darker Shades of Magic, the 3 books, and fell in love with Kel and Lila and the banter, and Alucard, and Rai, our prince, and what's the name of the antagonist? The other Antari. Oh my god, I can't remember him. All the characters are very well written, flashed out, the world building, everything. You know, V.E. Schwab writing is top notch, chef's kiss, and I cannot wait when she announced that she's going to write more. I was like, yes, thank you so much. I need it. And I'm so happy that we are getting it very soon. Threads of the Fallen. Threads of the Fallen. The Fragile Threads of Power. So happy. And she said there are also new characters in this book, so I'm very excited to just revisit that world again, and see what happened to Lila and Kel and all the other cool characters. So yeah. So the other book that I'm excited to read is Bookshops and Bonedust, and this is the second book by the same author that wrote Travis Baldry, Legends and Lattes. So to confess, I didn't read this book yet. I really want to get to it before I read Bookshops and Bonedust, but I will be in a cozy mood really soon, because now I'm reading a lot of like mysteries and fantasy. Once I get into that cozy mood, I will definitely pick this up. I have already pre-ordered the Waterstone exclusive edition of Bookshops and Bonedust, and I'm also really excited to read those. The other book that I want to get to is Two Twisted Crowns, which is the sequel to One Dark Window. So I think the second book would be the last one, because I think this is going to be a duology, but we don't know, right? Maybe they will come up with another book next year, but I think it is a duology. So the first book was about One Dark Window. It's a YA fantasy. The vibes of the book were really good. That's what I liked about it. It's like this kingdom. The kingdom had a curse. The king is trying to lift up the curse, and how you do that with magic. There is magic in this world, but the magic is limited to certain people. So not all people are allowed to use magic, and the magic is also connected to cards. I'm not going to talk too much into the details about this. I don't want to say too much about the book, but like there are cards. The legend says that the king had a deal, talked to magic, made a deal, and there is a certain amount. The number of cards is limited, and every card will allow you to make or perform a certain kind of magic. So the king wants to collect all these cards so he can have enough power, enough magic to lift the curse. And our main girl, so people get the magic they develop a fever, and then after the fever, they develop a certain power. So when they see them, they got the fever, they take those people and they get rid of them because they're not allowed to use magic. Our main girl, she got the fever, they hid it away, but she didn't develop any kind of magic. But then she started hearing voices in her head, and this voice is like a spirit. We don't know if it's a good or bad. I think it's bad, but she started to hear the spirit, and And then I mean, one thing led to another, and she's discovering more about the kingdom, more about the curse, and now she is entangled to lift up the curse herself, and she has to ally herself with another person, and there is also the trope of allies to lovers in the story. I thought the first book was really interesting. The ending was very good, very good setup for a second book, and I really want to read the next book. So yeah, this is One Dark Window, and the sequel releasing is called Two Twisted Crowns. The next book I want to talk about is Jennifer L. Armentrout, the new book. It's a new world, adult book, romance, fantasy, and it's a new world. It's called Fall of Ruin and Wrath. And to be honest, I didn't want to hear anything about it. I want to go to this book, jump in blind. I don't want to hear anything. I just want to start reading it, and just make my own opinions while reading this book. I needed to hear just fantasy romance. Okay, you got me. I'm sold. I'm so excited. It's just my favorite subgenre, and I'm excited for this book. The other one I'm so excited for is The Scarlet Veil. This book is set in the same world as the Serpent and Dove books. I didn't read Serpent and Dove. I only read the first book. I didn't continue reading with the series because a lot of people were kind of hesitant. The reviews were like up or down. Mainly people are complaining that they are long for, I mean, the books got longer for nothing. I mean, 200, 300 pages you can take away from the book and it will not change anything. It got dragged out a lot. The plot got dragged a lot and people got bored when reading the books. And then I think there is a trope in the third book I heard. I'm not going to mention it, but I don't like that trope either. But it depends if it's well done. I may like it. I don't know. But The Scarlet Veil, you can read it. If you read it, you will be spoiled for certain things that happened in the first books. But I don't care. Because it's the same thing as, like, for example, Six of Crows and Shadow and Bone. If you read Six of Crows, you will hear about characters and certain things that happened in Shadow and Bone. But I never read Shadow and Bone, and I'm not interested in reading those books. So, and I read Six of Crows and Cricket Kingdom, and they are one of my most loved books of all time. So I don't think that you have to read the previous series of Serpent and Dove before diving into The Scarlet Veil. But I read the synopsis of Scarlet Veil, and I'm very interested to be back into that world because I like the world building and I like those characters. But then the plot got a bit dragged out, and I wasn't interested in reading that. So yeah, The Scarlet Veil. There is a Waterstones exclusive edition that is really gorgeous. Fairy Loot is coming up with a special edition. I pre-ordered the Waterstones. I'm planning to get the Fairy Loot also. Yeah, if you want one, you can pre-order it right now. It's still available. So the next book that is blowing up on Instagram, honestly, I see it everywhere. I have been seeing it for like 3 months ago. The reels, everyone is talking about it. The author is so funny, and it has been released, I think yesterday or the day before that, at the end of August, I mean, because maybe, I don't know when this video will be coming up, but it's Assistant to the Villain, and I'm very intrigued. It's pitched as Once Upon a Time meets The Office, and like, say no more. I want to hear it. I want to hear everything about it. It's a fantasy comedy. It's grumpy. I think there is a grumpy sunshine trope. There is this sunshine assistant to this evil villain. So there's this villain guy who is looking for an assistant, and it's a low stake, cozy fantasy, maybe with a drizzle of romance. So yeah, I'm very excited to read this book, and I pre-ordered it. Also, I think there are two editions of this book. There is a regular paperback. There is no hardbacks. I didn't see that. I'm following the author. There, I didn't see that there was hardbacks. There's two editions. One that two paperbacks. One that has the sprayed red edges. It's a solid red edge, and one without sprayed edges. So yeah, and both of them are available on Amazon. The next book that I want to read is the sequel to A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon. It is called A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch. And I'm very excited because I read A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon. I really like the vibes of this book. It's a lighthearted fantasy romance. Loved it so much. And the second book is about Mariel's best friend, and I think it was the boss of Ozroth. It's between Mariel's best friend and Ozroth's boss. So I'm so excited to read it. It's very cozy and lighthearted, and I was laughing the whole time. Really enjoyed this book. So if you like that vibe of like fantasy romance but very cozy with like contemporary dialogue and very funny, lighthearted, you will love this book, and you will love the sequel too. So the last book I'm going to talk about is Nightbane, which is the sequel to the famous Light Lark. I know that a lot of people have strong opinions about Light Lark. You either like it or you hate it. It's like two groups of people, and I very much enjoyed it. It's like, read it. If you didn't read it yet, I highly recommend you reading it without Googling any reviews. Don't go on Goodreads. Don't Google anything. Just read the book and see for yourself if you hate it or like it. That's my advice to you. I read it when it was released. I read it and really enjoyed it. I didn't expect anything. It's a YA fantasy with like games to death, like competition to death. It's fast paced. The romance, it was really good. I got hooked, and I'm waiting for the second book. The ending was like, the ending was wild, to say the least. The ending was wild, and I need answers. And I cannot wait for the second book to come out, to be honest. So let me stop rambling and let me tell you a little bit about this book. So there are 6 or 5 realms, I think, within this universe, and there is a curse that is put on all these realms, and every 100 years they have to fight to death to lift this curse. Okay, and we are following Isla, which she is the ruler of the wildlings realm. And there is this island that pops up. The island is Lightlark, the name of the island, and the games and the competition is held in on this island. So the book was really fast paced. I mean, usually you get the first book in a series, and it's like introducing the world, introducing the characters, the magic system, and there is a lot of like introduction and information. But this book, just from the beginning, it starts out very fast. Everything goes, all the action is from the first chapter, let's say. So yeah, maybe some people do not like that. I don't know, it's a personal preference, but the beginning was a bit clunky, to be honest, but then I really got into it. Once you get into the book, I think you will like it. If you like games, deadly games, and like things like that, like the Hunger Games, let's say, you will like the book. I really enjoyed it. It played out in my head like a movie. And the last 100 pages were like filled with a lot of things that happened at the same time and action, and I cannot wait to continue on with the series. So yeah, Nightbane, I think coming up in November. So that was the last book that I wanted to talk about. If you lasted this far, please leave a book stack emoji and a comment with the books that you really want to read this fall. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos, and I will catch up with you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!